Hi everyone, it's Lauren, and I went and got some more books, didn't I? Obviously, there is such a pile of books at my feet right now. So I better just jump straight into it before we start asking questions as to, my sanity. So first things first, I'm really pleased to say that I'm going to be working with the Bailey's Women's Prize for Fiction again this year. I love the Bailey's Prize. I always think it's quite diverse in the type of literature that gets longlisted and shortlisted. So I'm really pleased to be working with them again. And I have the shortlist here, which I am going to be reading and reviewing and then discussing kind of my thoughts on it and who I think should win and who I think might win, etc. kind of later on in the month. The winner is announced on the 7th of June, so I've got a bit of time to get through these books before then, and I've read a couple of them already, so I'll just go through them quickly with you now. The first one I have here is First Love by Gwendolyn Riley. I have already read this, and although it's a very slim volume, there's just so much in here that actually I still think about it sometimes. It's about a woman and her relationship with her husband, or her kind of crumbling relationship with her husband, but also her relationship with her mother, with her friends, like with herself. It's very introspective and kind of an interesting one, an interesting contender. The second book I am currently reading, which is Do Not Say We Have Nothing by Madeleine Tien, and I've only just started this book, but I'm really enjoying it so far. This is about a Chinese American family who take in a protester who's fleeing from the aftermath of Tiananmen Square, and so far I don't know any more than that, so yeah, this is definitely going to be an interesting one. This was shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize, and there's been a lot of hype about that book. Next we have The Sport of Kings by C.E. Morgan, which is about families who are breeding racehorses, and it sounds like a bit of a family rivalry, a multi-generational family saga. I wouldn't normally be interested in sport or horses kind of at all normally, but this does sound like the kind of book that I would enjoy because I love those family saga type things. We also have The Dark Circle by Linda Grant, which is about a pair of twins who contract tuberculosis and then have to go to a sanatorium. We have The Power by Naomi Alderman, which is a kind of dystopian novel where suddenly all of the women can inflict pain through their hands, like through touching, like one day. So this is obviously a kind of dystopian, futuristic, sounds very feministy, undertones kind of book. I quite like when books of this sort of genre get shortlisted or longlisted for prizes because I feel like they're overlooked quite a lot sometimes. And the last one is Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo, which I have just finished and absolutely loved. And this is about a Nigerian family who are unable to have children and the pressure on the wife from her family and her in-laws and society. I'll talk about this more in a coming review video, but really enjoyed it. So yeah, so far my thoughts on the shortlist are very positive, so I'm looking forward to getting through that and kind of comparing them to each other, not just seeing what I like about the book individually. The next little set of books I bought on a booktuber meetup that we had a few weeks ago, and what we tend to do is just kind of get everybody together down in London because lots of people live all over the country, and then we go on a bookshop crawl, and everyone deals with this slightly differently. Sometimes people are like, I know a specific book that I'm going to buy today. Sometimes people ban themselves from buying anything on their bookshop crawl, and I just like to leave it open and just see what comes to me. Like if I see a book and I feel like I need it, then I buy it. So I bought 6 books. One of them is on my shelf behind me, you can just about see, which is the Encyclopedia of Early Earth by Isabel Greenberg, which I've already read and reviewed. And then I also bought other stuff, like obviously. In my defence, I bought 2 books from Persephone Books, which is an independent bookshop which mostly publishes kind of not undiscovered, but perhaps underappreciated women writers. And as we were in there, I was like, well, I can't get these anywhere else apart from the bookshops that stock them and online. But since I was there, I thought I'd have a flick through and guess a couple of them. So they are all published with these beautiful kind of sort of dove grey, I want to say, kind of covering, and then they all have different prints inside, like wallpaper prints. And this one is Harriet by Elizabeth Jenkins. Now, they don't normally give you a synopsis in there, they'll just give you an excerpt of the book, but I think this is based on an actual murder of a high society lady. So this just sounds really interesting. And the other one I got was The Making of a Marchioness by Frances Hodgson Burnett, and obviously she wrote The Secret Garden and Little Princess, and I've never read anything that she wrote for adults. I didn't realise that she had written for adults, so I just thought I'll give her a go. And also I was really seduced by this print because I think that's absolutely gorgeous. I also picked up The Refugees by Viet Thanh Nguyen, which I saw in the London Review bookshop, and I was just completely drawn to it. I think the cover is beautiful. I love this little parrot. It says winner of the Pulitzer Prize in 2016, and I just had a flick through. This is a collection of short stories, so I read like the first page and just thought, yeah, I like this writing style, and just thought I'd give it a go. It says here, the stories are a captivating testament to the dreams and hardships of immigration. So yeah, just just give it a go. I really like discovering new authors in this way. It's quite hard to discover new writing, I think, sometimes without somebody giving you a recommendation. So if you're just in a bookshop and you like the look of something, you got to pick it up, or that's what I tell myself. One of the other books that I did this for is Strange Weather in Tokyo by Hiromi Kawakami, and this was in foils, and it was the #1 pick book right near the till, and marketing just works on me. I have such a weakness for that. If someone's like, this is the best book ever, I'm going, oh, okay, cool, let me just take it to the till then. I've already read this, and I did really like it. I don't read a lot of Japanese fiction, so I just wanted to give it a go. It's about a woman who's kind of in her 30s, and she meets and develops a relationship with one of her old teachers from secondary school. And the last thing I bought in the BookTuber meetup is The Things I Would Tell You, which is a collection of essays written by British Muslim women. And the idea of this reminded me a lot of The Good Immigrant, which was a lot of essays collected by Nikesh Shukla, written by different people in the UK who are of an immigrant background. And this one is specifically for British Muslim women. And this is a mix of established authors and writers, and also new voices and emerging talent as well. So very, very pleased that I found this. So now on to the new books that I was sent by publishers. The first two that I have here are from Icon Books, and they are some of Cordelia Fine's work. So I've got her new book, Testosterone Rex, and one of her older ones, Delusions of Gender. So I'm really trying to get back into reading more about feminism and gender studies in general. So I was very pleased to be sent these. Delusions of Gender focuses on the idea that we kind of think that we're hardwired to our genders, or our sexes determine what we're like. Like people say, oh, there's a reason why men really like science and women just really love ironing. Whereas I think her argument here is that it's not as simple as that. And I'm very interested in the difference between the nature versus nurture argument and kind of the construct of gender. So looking forward to this one. And Testosterone Rex seems to take that idea a little bit further and focus mainly on testosterone and the idea that we have that our hormones, or like testosterone, is the thing that drives masculinity, but actually it's much more complex than that. So really looking forward to reading both of these, because I like that they mix the kind of scientific element and scientific argument and the kind of social, kind of philosophical side of it. I next have some non-fiction here. So recently I read Leftover Women by Lita Hong Fincher, which is about gender inequality in China, and that was published by Z Books. So after reading that, I went on the Z Books website to see what else that they have, and I was just astonished by the range of non-fiction that they publish. I know that Jean has got a couple of books from them as well, and when I went on there myself, I was just like, I love this. Like, if you are looking to get into non-fiction, I'd really recommend them as a resource, because there's topics on there that you might not have even thought of that someone could write a book about, and you're just looking in there going, wow, that sounds so interesting. So I asked them for a couple of books, and they very kindly sent me them. So the first one here is China's Asian Dream by Tom Miller. So I was reading about China, and I wanted to learn a little bit more about China. This is less about the social side of China and much more about the economic factors. So this is about China's bid to become an economic superpower. And the other one I got is a bit of a chunker, but I'm really looking forward to this. I have high hopes for it. And this is Feminist Futures. This is a book of essays on a variety of topics, and it's written by so many different people. When I was reading through the context and I looked at the names of all of the people who have contributed to this book, I was just astounded by the diversity in terms of which countries people are from, like people's backgrounds. It was just so different. And the subtitle here is Reimagining Women, Culture and Development. There's a lot of topics in here. I mean, I don't know how I'm going to read it, it's just so big, but I think I can probably flick through it essay by essay, and it's just going to be so... Well, I'm hoping it's going to be really fascinating, so really hoping to report good things on this one. I have one book here that was sent to me by Faber, and that is Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney, and this is about a group of 4 friends and their relationships with each other and others, and I think it's based around one of them having an affair with an older married man. And I do believe this is a debut as well, so I really like discovering kind of new writers to me, but new writers in general, especially there's a lot of buzz about it, so looking forward to this one. And in a similar vein to that, I have a book here sent to me from Granta by Ellie Goldstein, which is Strange Heart Beating, and this is a debut as well. This is a retelling of the Leda and the Swan myth from Greek myth, where Zeus comes down in the shape of a swan and rapes a young woman called Leda. Cheery. And what I loved about this as soon as I saw it in the catalogue was like the cover, which I think is so beautiful and haunting. I love a myth retelling, and again I like that it's a new author, so looking forward to this one definitely. And finally I have a couple of books which are sent to me by Penguin. So the first one of these is for children, but I love it, and it's Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls, and this is just a collection of very short stories. You've got 1 page per woman, and it's about different amazing women in history and what they have done. Some of them will be people that we know of, like Elizabeth I, but a lot of them are people that have been written out of history or just ignored by history, even though they did amazing things, and because they're not part of like the canon that we learn about at school. And each of them have their own really beautiful illustrations here. It's only about a page. I love the idea of reading one of these. Oh, Hillary. I love the idea of reading one of these before I go to bed. And I also love that this could be a perfect gift, especially to anyone who has children or daughters. I think this would be brilliant to read to children as well. So really, really love this book. And the last book is another beautiful and important, but perhaps for kind of different reasons, book, and that is the Raqqa Diaries, Escape from Islamic State. Now this is written by someone who was living in Syria and is now in a Syrian refugee camp. It's written under a pseudonym, and it's just about life in Syria during the war. So you can't really get closer to the action than this, but it's also written in such a beautiful way, and there's lots of really beautiful, poignant and kind of haunting illustrations in this book as well. So I'm so interested to read this book. I would say excited, but I think it's going to be quite a difficult read, but a very important read. And I'm just very intrigued by the whole concept of this book. So that's a lot of books, isn't it? I really like books, guys. I don't know if you've noticed this recently, but I really enjoy them. I like buying them. Oh, they can't take that away from me. I would love to hear from you if you have read any of these books already. I'd love to hear your thoughts on them, which ones you would like me to read first. Please leave a comment below if you have any thoughts, just to chat. Like it's fine. We don't even have to talk about books. Like, what do you want to talk about? I hope you are having a lovely day wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Right, now I'm going to do a thumbnail, and I don't know how I'm going to hold these up.